Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back for another episode of Living Lives. And my name is Wayne Leese, and I'm your host today. And we have a special guest, Bill Donaldson. He's the founder and president of the nonprofit company Love Has a Home, and he will be ordained as an interfaith minister next month on June 12th. His company is headquartered at Sticks and Stones Farm in Newtown, Connecticut, a 60-acre retreat center where he runs and hosts workshops, trainings, retreats, and spiritual gatherings of all kinds. He is also the treasurer of Two Coyotes Wilderness School, a financial advisor and consultant, a father of a 13-year-old son, and his mission and purpose is to help heal the darkness in the world through the light of love. So welcome, Bill, to the show.
Hey, Wayne.
How you doing? Thanks for jumping in and helping me out with a last-minute cancellation. That's very appreciative. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And it was good to see you the other night. I was up at Sticks and Stones Farm for a TLC group meeting, which is a total life care group with basically a group of healers, a local group of healers. And we did a bonfire and storytelling. And Bill told this great story about how he came into finding, the name and the organization Love Has a Home. So I thought maybe he would be a great guest to talk about that because, we're always looking for ways to connect with ourselves and with each other. And what better way than sharing love?
Yeah, for sure. Connection is sort of a malady of the world, or lack of connection. So we're all doing our part to bring people together and help them find connection to not just other people, but themselves, to nature. At least that's what I'm up to. So,
and there's no more beautiful place to connect to nature than Sticks and Stones Farm. It really is. I think I can show a picture of some of the parts of this is their website, but you can see there's a beautiful labyrinth there. This is the main building where we had our storytelling the other day, and there's cabins and all sorts of stuff. So it's a great place to connect with nature and to if you're looking even for a place to have an event, they hold those there as well. And there's cabins you can rent too. So it's really kind of a cool spot. And Bill is the one to contact for all of those things.
Yeah, it's an interesting journey how I got here, for sure. And Love Has a Home has something to do with that. So tell us a little bit about Love Has a Home and where it came from. Yeah, so it happened in October of 2017, and it was one of those things that just kind of popped through. Sometimes you think you thought of something yourself, but it probably came from somewhere else. But just to give a sort of a brief recount of that story, I was driving to my office in Westport. It was in the morning, rush hour, the whole thing. And I'm driving along and I just noticed something on the corner of my eye that caught my attention. And I stopped my car, and it was a lawn sign just on the side of the road. And it was a red sign with white letters, and it said, "Hate has no home here." And, my initial reaction is like, oh, that's nice. They're obviously, opposing hate, which is, we should all, try to keep hate out of our lives. But just having the word hate in the sign sort of troubled me a little bit. I just had a little bit of a tightness in my chest, and it just didn't feel good to see the sign. So I kind of thought, well, it's a good intention, but I'm not sure that messaging is really the most effective way to do it. So I just, put it in the back of my mind and continued my drive. And I decided to go a different route because it was, a little bit congested with traffic. So I decided to go through the center of town rather than out the usual kind of side route that I go. And I got into the center of town. I saw a group of people carrying a banner, kind of like a little mini protest. There's a small group of maybe, 6 or 8 people. and they're walking behind a banner. I couldn't see it until I pulled out into the road a little bit and looked back. And again, I see a banner with, it was kind of I don't remember if it was red or what color it was, but the words were white for sure. And it said hate, big word hate at the top of the banner. And then underneath that, a bunch of other words that I don't remember what they said other than something about not hating. So again, second time I'm seeing this sort of resistance to hate, which again is obviously not a bad thing, but continuing to see the word hate just bothered me. So I just thought to myself, there's got to be a better way we can promote this, change it from anti-hate to something better. And then it just came to me like, what if we just swap the words around a little bit, turned it from negative to positive? And why don't we say love has a home here? Instead of saying what doesn't have a home, let's just say what does have a home. And then we can take hate out of the equation altogether and stop fighting against something. And so I got to my office and I said, well, let's just see if that's actually even available. And I started to Google and search. Sure enough, no one's using it. It's not trademarked. And I'm like, all right, I think I'm going to do this. So at first I'm thinking, let me just make a better lawn sign to put out. And then I thought, well, why stop there? There's lots of things we can put that message on. So, and then I thought, well, this should really be a nonprofit. I don't want to do this for the money. So it all happened in that moment. I started the nonprofit. I'm the treasurer of Two Coyotes Wilderness School, as you said. So I have a lot of experience. I've run nonprofits in the past, and I have a lot of experience there. So that wasn't too difficult for me to do. And I ended up trademarking the phrase "love has a home," and created a line of products. Nothing too extensive at this point: lawn signs, T-shirts, hats. The magnets that you put up there. The point is to try to get people to stop, the fighting against what you don't want. It's sort of a law of attraction thing. A lot of people listen to your show probably are familiar with that. If all you think about is I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want this, but this, whatever it is you don't want, is just constantly in your awareness and consciousness, you're just going to bring more of it to you. Even though
and your subconscious dismisses the word not and don't.
Yeah.
So all it focuses on in this case was hate, which is definitely what we don't want. So, it's always, you're very right with the law of attraction. What we focus, where we focus, where our focus goes, energy flows. So we want to focus on love so that our energy flows to love and take hate out of the equation altogether.
Yeah, that's the point of it. And get people to start putting out a message, and everywhere you go, if you see a sign that says love has a home here, wherever you see the sign, like, oh, well, there's love there. That's nice. And might be even on a T-shirt. And then it's, love is in that person. And so I just like the idea of anywhere that sign is, it could be anywhere on a car, it's just telling people that, there's love there. And so that's the little snapshot nutshell version of that story. And
it's so true, though. The visceral reaction you had when you saw those two banners that said hate, and I know whenever I see the love has a home sign, and I should have gotten some merchandise from you when I was there the other day. I wasn't thinking, but it really helps me to feel happy, and not the hate that, right in your face kind of thing. It's I'd rather much have love in my face than hate in my face.
I love that. Love in your face. Yeah. So the Sticks and Stones piece of it, it was through Two Coyotes Wilderness School that I initially got here. And Two Coyotes was in a conversation and negotiation to acquire Sticks and Stones Farm. His owner was transitioning. He was looking for someone to take over, but he wants to keep it intact. He wants to keep it used the way Two Coyotes uses it, which is reverence to nature and, not all about developing and et cetera. So I was involved with that as the treasurer, and that for lots of different reasons didn't go through. But since I had my own nonprofit and I was so passionate about this place, and I'd sort of stepped in to keep things going so that Two Coyotes could step in and run it, because the manager left. There was like nobody here. So I filled that spot just kind of voluntarily. And when Two Coyotes didn't come through, I just stepped in and said, let's make this for Love Has a Home. And the owner loved it. And so I've been here for about 2 years. And it's our headquarters now. Someday maybe we acquire it, maybe we don't. It doesn't really matter. The point is to keep it preserved, keep nature, as a place to come to heal, and a place for people to gather, have events like storytelling, like bonfires, like drumming. Everything that happens here, at least from my point of view, just needs to have a foundation of love. If it's something that's built on love, then it belongs here. And there's the shot of the garden, the produce of the garden. There's a drum circle, so all these different events have happened here actually for a long time. This has been in the same family for 40 years.
Oh, wow.
And probably for the past 25 or 30. That's a picture of the labyrinth that people can just walk to, and
it's a beautiful labyrinth.
Yeah.
I've been through it.
So they've been doing this stuff for a very long time, and it's really just a matter of continuing that legacy of providing a healing space. And the cabins, people flock to these cabins on the weekends from the cities, and especially last summer when it was really the lockdown, we were able to open up and give people a respite from their, pent up lives in their little apartments, and just get on
I bet.
People were so happy just to get out. And so that's pretty
What's
much
the website for the farm?
sticksandstonesfarm.com.
And it's
not really
the full and written out, right?
Yeah, Sticks and Stones Farm, all written out.com. It's not really a farm anymore. Not that it really was a farm, but they did grow moss and sell moss. And they do a little bit of that still. But for the most part, there is a big garden that's used by a nonprofit called Real Food Share, and they donate all the produce. It's amazing. They donate so much fresh produce to people in need in the area. So there's really 3 nonprofits operating on this property: the Wilderness School, Love Has a Home, and the Garden Project. And lots of other groups come in and use it, just for the day or a weekend.
And like I said, if anybody is in the Newtown area, it's a fantastic place to go and drop in and just, I know you're open to people just taking a peek around.
Yeah.
To really see what it's like and maybe get involved with something there. It's a great place for hiking. There's a mountain. There's you don't have to go up the mountain. You can just stay on the lower level, which is where the labyrinth is, and a couple ponds and streams. It's gorgeous place to just sit and recharge your batteries. So
yeah,
you can tell right where it is because there's a big Sticks and Stones and a big Love Has a Home sign right out at the end of the driveway.
yeah, definitely make it pretty easy to get to. And like you've talked about connection, connecting to nature, I think, is sort of an entry point because it's so easy to do that. And the more people can connect to nature and really feel that, oneness with creation, it extends out to people, even to yourself. Connecting to your inner higher self is so important too. And to the divine, whatever form that takes for people. So being able to be based in a nature, natural setting like this is really important. It actually makes my job way easier. If someone comes here wants some healing, I can just go have them sit by a tree.
Yeah.
And it's amazing what that'll do alone. So
One of the comments in the web feeds from my friend Pam, she said, "Connecting with nature saved me during the pandemic." So
Absolutely.
it's definitely, and I've been known to go out and hug a tree every now and then. But it's also, if you look at, Pam says it connected her physically and spiritually and was actually a blessing, which I know to be the truth. And there's a Japanese practice, which I think is I forget the Japanese name, but it's forest bathing.
Oh
And
yeah.
the whole practice of going out and forest bathing.
Mhm.
So doTERRA is actually, the oil company that I work with, is definitely is coming out with an oil this summer, specifically to replace. If you can't get out into a forest, it's one that's going to have a couple of the firs and things in it. So I'm looking forward to seeing that beautiful, that oil, and you can put it in a diffuser so you can bring that forest into the home. So
there's so much research on the benefits of nature, and just being outside walking. I read somewhere that if you walk with your gaze above, like at the horizon, looking up, it's impossible to be depressed. I've never.
Okay.
I can't say I've tried at being very depressed and doing it, because I'm fortunate, not to have to cope with that so much.
Yeah.
But if you can get yourself outside, if you're in that situation, and you can just keep because if you look down, then that's sort of the depression is like going within. And if you can keep your head up and just look out at the horizon, out in nature and at the trees, and just keep your gaze up, it just lifts your spirit. It's pretty amazing what it can do.
Yeah, and the other thing that I'm listening to a book called Wonderworks, which is about the brain and how the brain works, and they were I just started it yesterday, but they were talking about how things like Greek tragedies were actually medicinal. And Aristotle, in his poetics writings, he talked about the different ways and the different instruments that are in literature and drama that help to solve issues. And one of them that he was talking about yesterday was when a Greek play was performed, there was a chorus in the orchestra, which is really comes from a Greek word meaning dance space. And the Greek chorus would go back and forth, and they went back and forth so that your eyes went left and right, which actually helped with things like depression, which is what the EMDR, the eye movement, I forget what the DR stands for, which is a therapy that is actually offered now. And that's what it actually goes back to.
Wow.
Greek choruses.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So it's really kind of cool. And that book is, I think it's Wonderworks is the name of the book. I can't remember the author, but I just started it yesterday. I found it from another podcast I was listening to. So it kind of fits right in with this whole thing, and looking up or looking side to side can help with that as well. So it's really kind of cool.
Yeah, I think the pandemic bringing people to nature, I think that stuck a little bit, because people were, didn't have much else they could do, and I hope that they really reaped lots of benefits. And because I still see a lot of the parks pretty crowded on the weekends where they weren't always. And I think that's a blessing. Is one of the silver linings of the pandemic is it got people out, to appreciate nature more. So hopefully that'll help us to save this planet. It could use some help.
It definitely does need some help. And help from us.
Yes,
save it from us. So that we can pass it on to our kids and things. So, and let's give ourselves a little bit of love while we're giving the planet a little bit of love too.
Absolutely. Because we're not separate from the planet. That's the biggest illusion. That's part of the problem. It's not so easy to cut a tree down when you feel a deep connection to it.
Right.
So that's what I'm trying to help us to cultivate, is that deeper connection. Yeah.
And then we have that connection, and when we have that love, and and people can go ahead and get, some merchandise from you to let everybody else know that they believe in Love Has a Home too. So I know you have the lawn signs, and I know you have, this is a picture of one of the magnets,
right?
Buttons. And I think I've seen a cap,
baseball cap. Yeah. And I've got a bunch of sort of tote bags. They're made of, they look like burlap kind of, they're natural.
Yeah.
They have the logo on them. It's lovehasahome.org, which is, you can see on this. I think this is one of the designs of the button. The lawn signs look the same, but they're square.
Yeah.
So the design, just so you know, that the design, the colors it's to look like a quilt, which is also about connection.
Mm-hmm.
And the graphic designer that did this for me came up with that idea of putting sort of a quilt feel of that connection. So that's what that's about.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's amazing what graphic designers come up with. I know.
I sure couldn't.
Working with the one that I had for my new logo, it's amazing all the background that when we went back and forth, all the different pieces that came into it. But this isn't about my logo, so. So I want to thank you for joining me today, and definitely support your Love Has a Home, your mission there. And I need to get me some. Next time I see you, I'm gonna have to get some. I live in an apartment, so I really can't put the lawn sign out.
Yeah.
But I can definitely use a tote bag or a hat or something to. I always have to wear a hat when I go out anyway, so I might as well have one that's like Love Has a Home on it.
There you go.
That's important. So thank you so much for joining. If you just want to hang out in the green room for a second while I wrap up the show.
Sure.
And thanks everybody for joining me. And next week, I'm hoping to have John Stasio with us, who is the founder of eastonmountain.org. It's a retreat center in upstate New York. And it's their anniversary, their 21st anniversary is tomorrow. So hopefully he will be able to join us next week. He was not able to join us this week. But I encourage everyone to go out, make a connection, and live your best lives. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you again next week.